excuse me, I didn't see you there. I was too busy painting. Hi, I'm Amy Dix with Authority Speakers Agency. And what the heck does painting have to do with speaking? For you, it may be nothing. For me, it's everything. It's how I earn tens of thousands of dollars on a stage every single time I get booked. But look, you don't need to be a painter or an artist in order to do the same thing. You don't need to be a painter in order to scale your business. You don't need to be a painter in order to use the stage and build your speaking career. And look, I didn't start here. I didn't start as a painter on a stage, but the stage has always been my happy place. So I have been speaking professionally now for over 10 years, but where I started and where I ended up is very different. And there are just a few things that if I would have known, it wouldn't have taken me 10 years to get here. But here we are. But I want this for you. I want to go through with you today how your meaningful speech can scale your business, how you can build not just a speaking career, but how you can use speaking for your business. I like to think of it as magical marketing. So think of this for just a moment. If you were to try to reach your ideal audience, one way you could do it is you could run Facebook ads. Yes? Or any Instagram ads, YouTube ads, you choose. And then what happens? And now you're trying to find the right person. You're trying to pull them in. They got to go through your funnel. At some point, depending on what your offer is, at some point it's probably a phone call just to get to talk to your ideal audience. A stage is the shortcut to that. So I want to go through with you today on how you can do that and where to find stages so that you can build the momentum that you were meant to build and that you can get your message out to the world. Now, I said it took time for me to get where I am today. I didn't start out at a $10,000 speaker. In fact, my very first speaking engagement was for nothing. But I do remember the first time that I got paid for a speaking engagement, and it was $250. But worse than that, it wasn't just $250. It's less about the speaker fee. It's more about like the audience and who I was talking to. And I walked off that stage and guess what? I knew it wasn't my audience. Now, fast forward a little while, my first what I would consider large speaking engagement. I pitched myself to this organization and they said, how much is your fee? And I didn't really know what my fee was. Like somebody offered me $250 at one point, but certainly that wasn't my fee. So I said $1,500. And they said, okay. I knew then that I left money on the table. But the lesson there was the same as the $250 lesson. It's less about the fee that they paid me, and it was more about the audience. So again, I got on a stage and I spoke to this stage and I motivated them and I was excited and I walked off that stage and I felt deflated. Why? Because I wasn't speaking to the right audience. When I talk about the stage being a magical shortcut, yes, it is. It is the magical marketing shortcut when you're in front of your right audience. I'm going to show you how you can get in front of your right audience in a very quick way. So instead of running ads and hoping that somebody comes through your funnel, imagine being on stage and speaking to hundreds or thousands of your ideal audience. You can see them hang on to your every word. You can see them leaning forward in their seats. And best of all, when you walk off that stage, you have a line of your ideal audience waiting to talk to you. That is the power of speech. And the power of speech is so real. Alternatively, picture yourself on stage and suddenly you start to see people check their watches. Now some of them are leaving. You're like, wait, what's happening? I don't want that for you, because two scenarios can happen. You can have the scenario with the line, like you can't even get off the stage, right? Like, have you ever been there? You've spoken, like you're trying to get off the stage for the next the next speaker, and you already have a line meeting you at the bottom of the stage. That's what I want for you. That's scenario one. Scenario two is checking watches, leaving the conference room, and walking off that stage and feeling the way that I felt that day, where I was like, this was not the right audience for me. Now, in order to get booked for those stages, you have to create a few things. You have to have a meaningful message. You have to have a meaningful message. I'm going to go through these with you. You also need to find your uncommon value, and then build the momentum. All right, so let's go on this roller coaster. Let's find your meaningful speech, your uncommon value, and your build. And I'll show you how to build momentum and find the stages. Okay, let me show you quickly. Let's just go here. Pull up my handy iPad. All right. Three things, right? So 3 things that I've got for you. Meaningful speech. You have to have a meaningful speech. And it needs to be meaningful in 2 ways. It needs to be meaningful for you. I mean, let's make sure that you're giving a message that means something to you, right? And it needs to be meaningful for your audience or whoever is hiring you, right? Or that they know that it's going to be meaningful for that audience. All right, so meaningful speech, number 1. The second thing that you need is you need to find your uncommon value. Uncommon value. Now, we work with speakers all the time, and this is like when they come into the agency and we're working with them on, finding the speech, finding the hook of their speech. This is one of the most important things, and sometimes the hardest thing for the speaker to tell us. What is your uncommon value? What makes you different than all the other speakers? And the third thing that you need in order to get booked, build momentum. Build momentum. Okay, so if you want to use the power of speech to scale your business, you need these 3 things. Let's start with the meaningful speech. How do you create a meaningful speech? How do you know that it's meaningful? And I said it had to be 2 ways, right? Had to be meaningful not only to you, but to the audience as well. So there's a couple of things when we look at how, let me just draw this out. How do you, okay. My circles got significantly smaller as we went through it. But okay, so let's talk about how you create a meaningful speech that is meaningful to you. In fact, let's try this again. Shall we? All right. Okay. I don't know if that's even better or not. Okay. So number 1, you have to love the topic. Okay. So you love the topic. If you don't love the topic and you just kind of speak on it just to speak on it, you can get booked for stages. I'm not saying you can't. You can scale your business to a certain extent, but you're gonna burn out. So you want to make sure that you love the topic. A lot of times I'll tell our speakers, like, be authentic to who you are. Be authentic to where you are. Like, you need to meet yourself where you are in your speaker journey. Okay. The second one is the world, the audience needs the message. Sometimes we have folks come through the agency where they love the topic. Like, they're like, this is near and dear to my heart. I love this. People need to hear this. But if there is no audience, if they don't need the message, then it's going to be really hard to get in front of your ideal audience. I mean, this would be true within your business as well. But the second thing is you can be paid. You can be paid. I want to talk about being paid here for just a moment. You can be paid in a myriad of different ways when it comes to speaking. So in the beginning, I told you about how, my first fee where I actually pitched myself was $1,500. And I thought, oh my gosh, I left money on the table. But what I later realized is it's less about the speaker fee and it's more about the opportunity, right? So you could go with no speaker fee and still make six figures on stage, right? So my business partner in Authority Speakers Agency, he'll tell you, he's like, I never want to take a speaker fee again, because I would rather them not pay me the fee, be able to get on a stage, be able to motivate, inspire, and pitch my product and service and make six figures. That is much more meaningful to him, right? And so there's different ways to get paid, and we go through that within the agency. Not enough time today, but multiple ways to get paid as a speaker. So I want you to think beyond the speaker fee. So you can get paid. And the last one is you are an expert on this topic. You are an expert on this topic. When you are the expert, this kind of goes into the next one, which is your uncommon value. But when you are the expert on your topic, of course it makes sense for you to be the person on the stage delivering that message. This, my friends, actually, I should do this. This is the heart of your meaningful, of your meaningful speech. All right. This is the heart of your meaningful speech. So I want you to think through, do you love the topic? Does the world need to hear your message? Can you be paid for this topic? And are you the expert? If all four of those line up, then here we are, friends. Here we are, the heart of your meaningful speech. Now, I said it needs to be meaningful both for you and for the audience. Whoops. And more importantly, the planner who is hiring you needs to be able to understand this. This needs to be so obvious to them, right? Why else would they hire you? They need to be able to see beyond a shadow of a doubt that this is going to mean something for their audience. The fastest way to do this is to be able to set yourself apart from the other speakers. So this is what we call your uncommon value. What is your uncommon value? So how do you find your uncommon value? Oops. Can I spell today? All right. I want you to take a sheet of paper, make 2 boxes. Make 2 boxes on that sheet of paper. The first one is going to be, what uncommon values do you have that set you apart from other speakers? Set you apart from other speakers. I'm going to give you 2 scenarios. going to talk to you here for just a second. I'm going to give you two scenarios. Scenario number one. There is a speaker on a leadership topic. They're very clear on what their topic is. They're very niche. They are the only ones who can deliver the message that they are delivering because they're the expert. Scenario number two, you have a speaker who is speaking on leadership. They are very general. They say they can talk to any organization on leadership, and they give a similar message than any other speaker on leadership. Okay. This scenario has played out for us within the agency. We had two speakers. This is just one example. We've actually come across this a couple times. We've had two speakers, both on leadership. Now, when we present those two speakers to a planner or for an event, what happens? Who gets hired? Undoubtedly, we had one speaker, the same speaker, get hired every single time because he created his meaningful speech and understood that he was the only person capable of delivering that message that he wanted. The second guy on leadership, anyone could deliver. I could get up and deliver a message on leadership. So they could hire anyone. So given the choice between those two speakers, 100% of the time, 100 by the way, not exaggerating, 100% of the time, this speaker got chosen. Now I want you to take that scenario and think about it in your terms. If you are applying for a conference or you are talking to an event planner, right? So events right now are getting hundreds of speaker applications. We get emails all day long from our speakers that we have pitched that says, thank you for your submission. We had an overwhelming response for speakers this year and had over 300 applications. Now you're not just up against that other speaker who speaks on the same topic as you, you're up against 300 different speakers that speak on a similar topic as you. Yikes. So you need to be able to identify what is your uncommon value. What is it that the message is that only you can deliver? Because if only you can deliver it, well, then that's an easier choice for the planners. All right, let's go back. Let's go back to our chart here. So what sets you apart from other speakers? All right. The other thing is what sets you apart on stage? What sets you apart on stage? So what sets you apart from other speakers? What sets you apart on stage? For me, this is really easy. For what sets me apart on stage is I'm a speed painter. There's not a lot of people that speed paint on stage, right? So what sets you apart on stage? We have another speaker. He raps. He raps and he gets the audience to rap with him. Sounds like a lot of fun, right? That's what sets him apart on stage. That's what's going to get him booked again and again and again. This one will get you hired. This one will help you create momentum. What sets you apart from the other speakers? What sets you apart on stage? I want you to list these items out and be sure that when you are pitching that this is what you were leading with, so those who are hiring you know exactly what that is. All right. Now, if we go back, so we had meaningful speech, finding your uncommon value. Now, how do you gain momentum? How do you gain momentum? And it doesn't matter where you are in your speaking career. You always want to continue that momentum. Maybe you're at the beginning and you need to build it. Well, then you're meeting yourself where you are in your speaking career. Maybe you've built a little bit of momentum. You want more momentum, or you want bigger momentum. You want bigger stages. Perfect. All of that is great. So how do you build your momentum? One of the things I think that is important for you to do before we talk about the different stages in building your momentum is to set your goals. Set your goals. How many stages do you want to be on in the next 12 months? How many stages do you want to be on in the next 6 months? What about the next 3? What about next week? So identify what your goals are, what your speaking goals are. And if you can tie that to some dollar amount, even better, right? So, like, we have speakers that they know that when they go on stage, if they're selling a $5,000 high ticket item, they know about how many they'll convert out of every 100 speakers. So if they convert 10, we're just going to do easy math. If they convert 10, well, what's that stage worth to them? Right? So if they get booked on a stage with 100 people in the audience and they know that 10 historically will buy their $5,000 product, what's that worth to them? That's a $50,000 stage to them. Right? So your goal is, if you can tie it to a dollar amount, even better. Even better. You get bonus points, extra credit. Okay. Now, let me talk about how do you build your momentum? What kind of stages can you use to build your momentum? I started talking a little bit about, I wasn't painting when I first started speaking. When I first started speaking, the very first, well, one of the earlier parts of my speech was in kind of women empowerment a little bit, and that just kind of happened because of my past and where I came from. Right, your best, you can serve the people best of where you were about 5 years prior to where you are now. Fun fact. Okay, so I started in women's empowerment. Then I also had my digital marketing agency. So what did I do? Well, hello, marketing magical shortcut. I started speaking on stages. In fact, I spoke on 97 stages in like an 18-month period. It was absolutely insane. I got a ton of points on airlines and hotels, and it was great. It was a blast. For me, it was a blast, but I knew it wasn't sustainable. Then I was speaking on social media, digital marketing, content creation. Those were the things that I was speaking on then. And then now, as I kind of gained that momentum, and then I kind of had a shift. And then my second book is really on the science of happiness. So I went back to motivational speaking, and I did that speech for, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 years. And then I started integrating painting into it. So my momentum continues, but it looks different. So you might be, no matter where you are, your momentum might shift. When I shifted from marketing to motivational speaking again, well, I didn't go from 97 stages in an 18-month period to another 97 stages on motivational speaking, right? I got to rebuild my momentum. It's a different topic. That's not what I was known for. So no matter where you are, you can use these types of stages in order to build your momentum within your speaking career and in as you kind of start to scale your business. So let's go here. Let's look at this. I love the word momentum, by the way, like love the word momentum. And I think momentum is what keeps us going a lot in our businesses. It's what keeps us going a lot in life. It's like we see that, like, it's almost like there's hope. Like when there's momentum, there's hope, right? And so we keep going and going and going. So momentum begets momentum. This is a saying. This is not my saying, but momentum begets momentum. And the best way to start is to start. So you got to start somewhere. So this is where setting your goals is going to be really important. And one of the things that I want you to do is I want you to tell me how many stages you're going to be on in the next week. You can book a stage instantly today. Today, you can book a stage if you want to build that momentum. That's really through, I think that's one of the things that we're offering is the referral script. And so that's the fastest way to get a stage. And so you'll want to be sure to go there and get the referral script and use it word for word and send it out. Boom, magic. You will get a stage booked this week. Okay. Um, so this is where I started here in referrals. So these are the different types of stages. So as you build your strategy, you want to consider these types of stages. Now, when people come into the agency, this is what we're doing, right? We're listening, we're identifying where they are in their speaking career, we're identifying who their audience is, what type of stage is best for them. So these, and then what we do, and what I suggest you do, is that you find 2 or 3 of these lanes, or 2 or 3 of these categories that you're going to hit. So you're going to say, you know what, I really want to do virtual and I really want to stay local for right now. Perfect. Those are your 2 lanes. You're going to build a strategy to go get those stages. All right. So let's go through these. So you have local. I'm going to go through these individually here in just a second, but you've got local stages, you have live stages. Hello, that's the one I feel like everyone always wants. You have advocate. This is your referrals. Association stages, virtual stages, industry niches, and then PR and media. These are our categories when we book our speakers on stage. So now let's break this down. Local stages look something like this: networking groups, local chapter meetings, sometimes like associations, like if you have a national association, then they will have a local meetup, right? So that's what local stages are. I love local stages, by the way. I have made a ton of money doing local stages because local stages is a really great way to build off of one speaking engagement and get a bigger speaking engagement. So here's just an example right here at the top with one of our speakers. The planner had told us, he did a great job. He brought his books, Another Way to Get Paid, by the way, if you're an author. And then it says, I'm going to try to get him speaking engagements with Juice Plus, which were paid engagements. And so that was his ideal. That's one of his ideal companies. Boom. Spoke at a live event, got the bigger event. Live conferences and stages, man, conferences, conventions, live summits, retreats, workshops, seminars, keynotes, breakouts, all of those, right? I think that's what gets me excited. I don't know if that's what gets you excited. One of our clients, we actually were able to book, I think, 3 live stages, all on the topic. She talks about doing business in Africa. Talk about knowing your topic, right? That is so niche, that is so specific, and boom, we booked her on 3 of her dream stages just from that. Can you imagine being, and it was all within like, I don't know, man, maybe like a 6-month period, but being on 3 of your dream stages all within 6 months. You can do it. It's all about building the momentum, building your strategy, understanding your goals, and identifying which of these lanes you want to play in. All right, so you have associations. So regional, national conferences, local chapter conferences. I love this one. When I was an event planner, I owned a third-party event planning company. Wow, like over a decade ago at this point. But anyway, one of the things when I started that business, somebody told me, I didn't even know it when I got into the business, but they were like, you need to work with associations because they have to have an event every year. They have to educate their members. And I thought, well, hello, people. Hello. That's where I'm headed. If you are a speaker, hello, speaker, that's where you need to be headed. So what is it that you speak on? And go find some associations that work for you. One of the ones we're actually thinking about joining on behalf of our speakers so that we can book our speakers in this arena is colleges. So we've got a couple of speakers who they want to speak to colleges and universities. Did you know that there is an association for National Association of College Activities, I think is NACA, I think that's what it is, where the people who hire speakers for colleges to come into colleges, that they belong to that organization. Oh my gosh, if I was a speaker and that was my lane, like that was my niche, I would want to join that association, and or I would want to see how can I speak for that association, right? So what associations are within your industry that you can speak at? Oh, this is just, here's an example. We booked Bo here, up here in the upper right hand corner, for the PGA. Professional Golf Association. That one too is going to lead. We're pretty confident. We're not there yet. He speaks here in a bit, but is going to lead to many more speaking engagements, which is a whole nother conversation about being what we call like a referable speaker. But anyway, so this one you may know with the Fame and Profit. So this is a virtual speaking stage. I love virtual speaking stages. You know, I love to teach how to use a room for virtual speaking stages, but you've got webinars, you have live streams, you can go in other people's challenges. You have virtual summits like this one. So love virtual. It's a hot stage. It's not going away. It's really a matter of how you can figure out how to integrate it into your speaking strategy. I'm going to give you one little example here is I spoke virtually to a group of 5 people. It was a leadership something. It was like a leadership meeting, something or another, and like 5 people showed up and that was it. And I thought, oh my gosh, you know, and I paid and I'm all over the place and I've got different camera angles and all kinds of things. And I thought, okay, well, here we go. You know, I guess it's just 5 people. By the way, I was not paid to do it. But that virtual event turned into me speaking to 400 of for an association, 400 people in Times Square. Well, okay, hello, let's not cross off virtual. Let's keep going. Let's figure out how to put it into our strategy. And then finally, we have PR and media. I think that this is something that all speakers should have in their little toolbox, is to have been on some sort of TV, radio, podcast. Add it to your list. It's a great way to build authority. And from that, you can create the momentum. You can use those videos, put them on your website, and go and use that to get even more stages and bigger stages. This is our client, George. He was on Desert Living in LA, well, Palm Springs. And in fact, he just messaged us this weekend and he said, I want more of those. I want more of those TV ones. So those are the different categories and how you can build momentum. So again, creating your meaningful speech, meaningful to you and meaningful to the audience, right? So 2 ways. Finding your uncommon value, what makes you different from the other speakers, which will get you hired, and what makes you different on stage, which will get you more gigs. And then number 3, building your momentum, looking at those categories, figuring out, okay, what is it? What lanes do I want to concentrate on? And if you want the advocate speech or the magic referral speech, grab it, use it, and go get booked today. Thank you so much for hanging out. I need to run because I still have more painting to do. Thanks for being here. Amy with Authority Speakers Agency.